everyone, welcome to the world of public policy. Now, public policy is enormous. It covers everything every government has done and everything every government could do. So I wanted to start with this video breaking down public policy into a few different categories to help make things just a little bit easier. Now, there's no one way to categorize public policies. It's not an exact science. So there's many different ways out there. Some people use as few as 2 different categories, thinking about direct or indirect policies, whereas others have 10, 12, 15 different categories. For me, there are 5 categories that make the most sense and have helped me understand public policy. So let's get right into it. The first policy category I use is taxation. Taxes. Everyone knows them, everyone hates them. Taxes on money you earn, taxes on things you buy, and sometimes even taxes when you die. But there's actually a few reasons why governments might institute a tax. The first and most obvious reason is they need to collect tax revenue. Another reason may be to increase the price to buy something, which is ultimately going to lower the consumption of a good. Think of a tobacco tax. The tobacco tax is designed to decrease the number of people buying tobacco, less consumption, less health expenditures. Another reason governments might institute a tax is actually to decrease the price that sellers receive. This can be used to decrease inequality. But there are some costs of taxes beyond having to pay them. The first is excess burden. This means that there will be a larger decrease in economic activity than the money that governments receive from the tax. This can also be exacerbated by non-direct factors like compliance and administrative costs. And then there's also equity concerns, thinking about who pays the tax and is it fair for them to do so. And with that covered, it makes sense for the next public policy tool to be expenditures. This just means the government spending money, and the government can buy any goods or services just like you or I. But one particularly interesting category of goods is something known as a public good. This is something that is non-excludable, meaning you can't stop someone from using it once it's been purchased, and something that's non-rival, meaning my use of it doesn't diminish the quality for anyone else. The classic textbook example of this is national security. Once the nation is secure, you can't exclude anyone from the benefit, and my use of the secure nation doesn't diminish the quality for anyone else. Moving away from money for a second, let's talk about the third public policy tool, which is regulation. The government creating rules. And really what I mean is 2 different types of rules. The first being, you must do something, or you are not allowed to do something. For instance, you are not allowed to murder someone. But the government can put many different types of restrictions on these regulations. For instance, you are not allowed to drive a car unless you have a driver's permit. These regulations can get very long and very complex and take many different forms, and sometimes they have regulatory fees attached for them. For instance, you may not go hunting unless you have purchased a hunting permit. Regulation, being so broad, can cover a wide range of different topics, but at the end of the day, there's always the restriction that people or organizations are not able to do what they want to do freely. And speaking of the government telling you what to do, let's talk about our 4th policy tool, which is exhortation. Exhortation is really just a funny way of saying telling people stuff. And now, while many times people are not just going to listen to government, there's many times where this works very effectively. Think, for example, of a tornado warning. If the government tells you a tornado is coming, many people are likely to seek appropriate shelter. And so this, while the cheapest public policy tool in terms of its costs, can be very effective in certain circumstances. And with that, we've made it to our 5th policy tool, which is public enterprise. Public enterprise means the government creating an organization of government employees to execute some function. These can be designed to operate at a profit and make money for the government. Think of a national oil company, for example. Or they can be designed to operate at a loss or at break even. Think, for instance, a public school system that isn't bringing in much revenue. Now, I know I promised you that there would be 5 public policy tools at the start, but there really is a hidden 6th one. And it's always important to remember that the government can always do nothing. At the end of the day, public policy exists to solve a problem. Each of the 5 policy tools I talked about have their own costs, and sometimes the cost of any of them is going to be bigger than the initial problem. So in that case, it's better to just do nothing. And so that's it. Those are the 5 or 6 policy tools that I'll be using on this channel to help keep things just a little organized. Now, I recognize that these policy tools can often be used together to solve different problems. Think, for example, a road in need of repair. The government may tax the cars to reduce the number of people driving over the road to help it last just a little bit longer. They may spend money through a public enterprise to repair the road. They may let people know that the road is going to be undergoing repair so that people can plan alternate routes. And finally, they may propose additional speed limits during construction to provide additional safety to the construction workers. So again, a simple problem, fixing a road, all 5 policy tools coming together. So thanks for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed, please give me a like and feel free to subscribe. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.